move on to our third speaker, Dr. Sukaina Abdul Ilah Al-Nasrawi, joining us virtually. Dr. Al-Nasrawi leads the Sustainable Urban Development Portfolio at the United Nations ESCWA. She advances policy and practice on urban resilience, the localization of global development agendas, urban transformation, and the transition to smart and inclusive cities that prioritize quality of life in the Arab region. With over 20 years of experience in socioeconomic development, gender equality, biostatistics, technology, and planning, Dr. Al-Nasrawi has pioneered initiatives that connect global agendas with local realities. She introduced smart cities into regional policy debates, led the first voluntary local reviews in the Arab region, and launched the Arab Mayors Academy to empower city leaders in tackling urban challenges. Dr. Al-Nasrawi has also served on international juries, including the UNESCO Global Network of Learning Cities. Her distinguished record of publications spans topics such as smart sustainable cities, the multidimensionality of urban smartness, technology for development, the fourth industrial revolution, and gender equality. Her contributions to research and development have been recognized with multiple international awards. Dr. Nasrawi holds a PhD in information technology with a focus on smart sustainable cities. She's the author of one of the earliest global books on sustainable smartness of cities, where she champions a people-centered approach to digital urban transformation. Dr. Nasrawi, welcome, ahla wa sahla. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Lama, for the very kind and detailed introduction. It's a great pleasure to be to join you today for the Women in Data Science Conference at my beloved academic home, the American University of Beirut, where I spent some of the most informative years of my life. I also sincerely apologize for not being able to be with you in person, as always, as I'm based in Beirut. But unfortunately, I'm currently in Dubai for the Asia Pacific City Summit, where ESCWA is a knowledge partner. Otherwise, I would have definitely enjoyed being with you in person. But of course, no matter how full the schedule is, an invitation coming from you to speak at WiDS has just one answer. Huh? It's a yes. So allow me to share my screen so that without further ado, we start speaking about the topic of urban resilience, which, if you can just wave at me or just give me a note that you can see my screen so that I proceed.
Yes, we can.
Perfect. So I'll be discussing with you today the issue of resilience, and it has been mentioned different times since the opening remarks of Dr. Lama and the different interventions of the various esteemed speakers throughout the conference since the morning. But I would be looking at resilience from an urban economic perspective. As Dr. Lama said, I lead the urban development portfolio at UNESCO. So we are really interested in how data can help us build the resilience of the cities, particularly urban economic resilience, and how data is really a foundation for an urban transformation that has been prevalent in the region, which is the digital urban transformation, or this transformation towards smart and sustainable cities. To start with, just for any of the participants who's present and is not aware of what UNESCO is. So basically, UNESCO is the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Western Asia. It is one of the 5 UN regional commissions across the globe, based in Beirut, covering the Arab region, with the other 5 in Addis Ababa, Bangkok, Geneva, and Santiago, covering the remaining regions of the world. We do have 21 member states, so we cover the Arab region. And when we say they cover Arab region, we support member states in their efforts to advance sustainable development and ensure those concepts of prosperity and equality among many others. If you're wondering what kind of platform are we, we're an intergovernmental platform. So basically, we are a regional convener across national governments at the regional level. We advance regional integration, we develop regional norms and standards along different topics, including the use of technology, AI, the digital transformation, urban transformation, among many others. So without further ado, in the substantive part, I will be taking the discussion, though the very first two interventions were amazing and technical. So mine is going to shift from the purely technical to expand more on the development aspect of the issue of data for building urban economic resilience and for the digital transformation. I'll share with you a global project that is focused on building urban economic resilience that we've worked on. What is it? Who did we address? And how did we go about that? We'll also explore a global diagnostic and planning tool on the topic and how we collect data that helps cities in the region build their economic resilience. We'll also explore this digital urban transformation and what is the link that data gives us when we talk about resilience and smartness. So if we're wondering why we're talking about cities and what's the link between cities and development agendas, just to give you a glimpse that this is the working on cities and the role of data and the role of technology is engraved in global development agendas. It's not something new, but we recently started to focus more on urban development and development in cities, etc., etc. So this goes back to the 70s. During the UN conference of on the human environment up to 2015, where a complete focus, where basically the focus has become highly notable on cities and communities through the Sustainable Development Goals. I bet all of us know that in 2015, the Sustainable Development Goals were adopted by all member states across the globe, member states of the Arab region included. One of those goals is SDG 11, and it focuses on cities and communities. And that on its own is a milestone. So this basically takes us to the fact that we really need to focus on cities and collect data at the city level in the urban sphere to advance sustainable development. Of course, this was also backed up in Quito in 2016 and recently in 2024 through the Pact of the Future, where we focus on development, on cities, on data, and technology as a means of implementation. So, are there challenges basically facing us if we are to talk about cities? And why do we need to collect data? What types of decisions do we need to take? So the urban population in the Arab region grew more than fourfold from the 70s to 2010. And statistics show that it will more than double from 2010 to 2050. And more than 70% of the population globally and even in the Arab region are going to be urban by 2050. So with this increasing level of urbanization, urban resilience becomes core. And urban resilience is at the core of sustainable development. But urban economic resilience recently has shown to be even at the core of building urban resilience per se, because shocks haven't been just linked to hazards, natural hazards, or to climate change, but they're also linked to economic shocks. So building urban economic resilience is literally an urban transformation that is data intensive and data needs to be collected. Accordingly, UNESCO in cooperation with all regional commissions and UN Habitat, which is mandated to work on cities, and the United Nations Capital Development Fund, designed a global project that focuses on building urban economic resilience and to strengthen the capacities of local government and to contribute to a better planning. And of course, data was key. Data was key in the capacity building process, and data was the main driver for an informed decision evidence-based planning. It was piloted in 16 different cities around the globe. I'm not going to go into the details of all the cities, of course, time does not permit that. In the Arab region, it was implemented in 3 cities as a pilot, and it is continuing now. The project had different activities and components, but what matters to me in this particular presentation is this focus on the planning for building urban economic resilience. And how do we do that? Because this is the bit that is very highly data intensive. So the project was implemented through different phases. So basically, it was implemented through 3 different phases where the concept of urban economic resilience was established. It was created. It didn't exist before. And it is a phase where all the regions across the globe had different meetings and, technical meetings, stakeholder engagement to identify. And which all this process led to a design of a diagnostic tool that was used to diagnose the resilience of the cities, which data collected was used to inform the economic resilience building plans. So what needs to be improved, by how much, and how, etc., etc. Just to dive a little bit more into the concepts themselves of urban resilience and urban economic resilience, just for any of the participants who do not have the urban background. So when we talk about urban resilience, we really talk about the measurable ability of any urban system with its inhabitants to maintain continuity through all the shocks and stresses. While positively adapting and transforming towards sustainability. However, when we defined urban economic resilience, we really focused on the capacity and the related capabilities of the urban communities to plan for and to anticipate negative shocks. Of course, including long-term stresses to the economies, how to allocate, reallocate, mobilize resources, withstand shocks, recover from shocks, rebuild better, all to basically sustainably achieve economic growth and strengthen the capacity to deal with any future shocks. And I mean, we cannot stress more on the importance of this capacity to deal with future shocks. And of course, when we talk about planning and anticipating, this cannot happen except through evidence-based insights and data. How do we do that? How do we basically assess building urban economic resilience? Urban economic resilience can be identified through 5. We've captured it through a model, and that model is a global model that was implemented, as I started saying, in 16 cities across the globe, based on 5 key resilience areas, 17 main indicators, 63 sub-indicators, covering areas of business environment, labor market conditions, economic governance, financial environment, and all of these interacting with each other and also intersecting with the component of the basic service infrastructure and connectivity. If we just dive a little bit into of course, there is no time to go into all the details, but we dive a little bit into the 5 resilience areas, they basically capture how the city can sustain growth and respond to demographic and technological and market conditions. They also capture how changes in economic activities and the reallocation of labor while minimizing unemployment among other aspects. If we dive a little bit more into not just the key resilience area and the sub area, there are aspects being captured, for example, when talking about business environment, like the local economic diversity, like the openness to external markets integration, entrepreneurship and innovation, among many others. So it's just a very quick example of how it looks when we collect data and how do we interpret that. Of course, here you can see the 3 different diagnoses that we've implemented in the cities, and it took more than 7 to 8 months basically to collect this data. It is a letter. It's a scale from A to F that shows the best performance and the failing performance of the city based on specific requirements. And if we are to go more into the details of, for example, the local business environment, you could see the city product diversity, the informality, the public economy strength, etc., with letter scaling, providing the benchmark for the city of its current status and how basically it can improve. Of course, building urban economic resilience is key, but resilience is not only about readiness, is not only about recovery from hazards, from pandemics, etc. It is also about being ready for shocks and ready for transformations. And what we've done at UNESCO and in all UN regional commissions is linking this recovery process and readiness, linking it to an urban transformation that is prevalent in the 21st century, which is being digitally prepared. Now, being digitally prepared means one of the main meanings of this is basically the transformation of the city towards a smart and sustainable city. And as per the International Telecommunication Union, it is a transformation of the complete ecosystem of the city, of the different dimensions of the city that are 6 dimensions, basically. It's the smart economy, the environment, the living standards, the governance, the mobility, and the people lying at the core. This is the definition of what a smart and sustainable city is as per the ITU. And I'd like to highlight here that it is an innovative city that uses ICT and technologies and other means to improve quality of life. So people are at the core. And when we talk about any urban transformation, we have to keep people at the core. Now, any urban transformation, data is the core element enabling smart solutions, right? Supporting evidence-based policy making and facilitating effective planning and monitoring. So while building urban economic resilience and transforming to a smart, sustainable city, is there a linkage? Does data collected provide any, let's say, insights on the transformation? Does it add to it? Is it an added burden collecting data for both or not? When transforming to a smart and sustainable city, or when a city is undergoing a digital urban transformation, there are different dimensions that I've just mentioned, and there are so many factors that are involved. I'll just take this, for example, the smart economy. When we are addressing the dimension of the smart city, which is enhancing the competitiveness of the city, there are factors related to the innovative spirit, to the entrepreneurship, to the productivity, to the ability, to the flexibility of the labor market. And you already see intersections between this digital transformation and building urban economic resilience. So what we've done at the regional level and at the global level is that we mapped between transformations so that we tell ministries of planning and experts and academicians that any urban transformation needs to consider building resilience on the go. And this is not an additional burden, or this does not require additional data collection, because there is a direct mapping between them. And if we are, if any of us, like any of the participants now listening to me and saying, well, the smart sustainable cities, it's just a talk, there aren't lots of initiatives, etc. Well, no, more than half of the Arab region have already a city or more in the country, basically being labeled as a smart and sustainable city. Of course, there are cities that are following a brownfield approach, others following a greenfield approach, which is building a city from scratch or transforming in already existing cities. But more than half of the countries in the Arab region have an initiative or more within it for becoming a smart and sustainable city. So this mapping between building resilience and smart sustainable city is important to consider when collecting the data. And the mapping, if we quickly show it, it's basically along the urban services. So if we look at the 5 key areas of urban resilience, going from the governance, the labor market, the financial flexibility, et cetera, and the infrastructure and connectivity at the core, you would see the direct link between building urban economic resilience at this level and others to the dimensions of a smart and sustainable city. So a smart living requires housing quality, educational facilities, cultural facilities, individual safety, which directly maps to the urban services of building urban economic resilience, where we talk about the robustness of critical facilities, access to communication, housing stock, and many others. If we are to look more into the governance, for example, economic governance looks into resilience in development planning, ease of doing business, leaderships in times of crises, and we all know, like in the Arab region, planning amid crises is key, and it's very particular to our region. This, for example, when building urban economic resilience, focusing on this dimension, links directly to the digital urban transformation that touches upon transforming towards smart governance or to a smart living by looking into the political participation and decision making, political strategies and perspectives, the social cohesion, the engagement of the different communities, among others. Now, I can't really go into the details. I'm already at 19 minutes and a half, and I still have half a minute. But if you're interested to know more about the diagnostic and planning tool, you can check the document. It's available in English and Arabic, and it's an interactive tool. If you're interested in the mapping between the digital urban transformation and building urban economic resilience, it's also captured in the study in front of you. This is just a screenshot of the different knowledge products. We do have a lot of knowledge products that you can reference when it comes to advancing urban development in the Arab region. But if just for the sake of ease of reference, these are the different products that we've used to share with you what I've shared in the last 20 minutes exactly. So let me end with this, Dr. Lama, that by grounding resilience in data and driving transformation through innovation, we really pave the way toward a smarter and more sustainable urban future. And thank you so much.
Dr. Nasrawi, thank you so much for sharing with us a glimpse of what the great work that you're doing. And we hope to have you in person in the future. It was a great talk.
Inshallah.
You will be with us until for the Q&A, right? Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. And thank you for the invitation.
Thank you.